No, no, no. I like to see people's faces, but okay. All right. All right, everybody. I promise you will be on with all the energy I can possibly muster. All right, so setting goals that matter. Let's get into the presentation. I'm going to be going in and out of the screen so we can talk a little bit more. So goal setting, why is it so important? Um, it's one thing you have, you set up a goal. Keller Williams is great. They teach us about goal setting every year. I'm going to tell you, I'm going to share with you folks what I did this particular year that really drawn in those goals for me. I think at the end of the day, I'm not going to say I accomplished the goal, but that's not the thing. Is if you had a road plan and you're walking it daily, you'll get a chance to hit those goals or to be very close. So you always want to set up a goal that's uncomfortable. If it feels comfortable, you'll find yourself kind of like just chilling and not doing as much. Uh, but if it feels uncomfortable, it's going to push you to where you want to be. So we're going to talk about what successful agents do. One thing I love about this company is it's all about models, right? Uh, you can go out and say you want to do, maybe you have a great natural ability to mingle with people, talk to people, and that's just your gift. But when you model it and you find people that does what you do, and they make it successful by putting some scripts into place, uh, being focused, even in that natural ability of yours, all of a sudden your natural ability gets you to do a whole lot more. So that's what this goal setting is all about. I'm going to go through this, and along the way, I'll be sharing, what I did last year that I think make a significant difference. Because even myself, uh, you start this business, your first goal is to cap. Great. It took me, I think, the second year to cap. And then I went over that six-figure horizon, 3 years, and you just kind of stay flat. You're doing 130 to 150, you stay flat, for 3-4 months like that, 3-4 years like that. And it took coaching to make me break through that level. And was really drawn in because I've always gone to a business clinic every year, like, okay, I'm going to set this goal, but I don't walk it and I don't put it before me. So hopefully this class will help you guys to know how you can walk it and put it before you. And I really believe magic happens in that. When you put it right before you, uh, you know, first of all, for all of you that attend this class, I told Sonia, she got me last year this big calendar. So, Holland, I need to do me a favor. Everybody that attend the class, to put their name down. You all get that calendar. It's a huge calendar that's going to be on your wall, and it really, you can't escape your goal if you put it on your wall where you're seeing it every day. You can't escape it. I mean, it will taunt you to keep doing what you're supposed to be doing in a way. All right. So what successful agents do, of course, you want to grow your business, lead generate for buyers and sellers, make seller listing presentation and get listings, make buyer presentations and get listings. And a lot of people think when they work with buyers, okay, you got a referral, you met a buyer at an open house, or you met them at an event, and you just start going to show them property. That's not a business plan. you really need to know to be focused on getting an appointment, just like you will get you can't go to a seller's house and say you're just going to start showing their property, right? And say, oh, you have a good relationship with them. They want you to sell their house, and you start bringing people in. We don't have a contract. Yeah, and that's what people do with buyers. I think we're going to do like maybe 30 business of buyers this year. But that happens from being focused. And every now and then, don't get me wrong, I screw up too. I get a buyer, especially if I get a buyer that's from far away, from the valley. And I had this one buyer that was from the valley, so it's pretty far to come to South Bay, and she was going to be looking for a house in the valley. So I had a conversation with her on the phone, sort of create an agreement, and I went showing her properties. And I just realized after showing her 3 or 4 properties that, okay, I've done this wrong. So I literally had to say, okay, you know what? Let's set up an appointment. We'll meet at a Starbucks before we go to look at any property. It won't be for any property. You don't want to come? Yeah, that's fine. And by setting that appointment, meeting her, and then going through a buyer presentation, and then have her sign the buyer agreement, the dynamic change immediately. Instead of this friend that was referred to her to help her look for a home, all of a sudden, the dynamic of a business relationship come into place. And now we go and look at properties, we make an offer, and we get accepted. So very critical on that. Oh, that was okay. So we're talking about, so again, in this class, we're gonna focus on setting goals, attend training and get coaching. Coaching is really big. How do we get that done for both our buyers and sellers? All right, let's keep it moving because this thing is loaded. Okay, where am I? Okay, so if we just set goals, and I've done this for years, where, okay, I want to do 33 deals. I think my first 5 years, I kept pursuing these 33 deals in a year. And, I'll get to 16 or 15. And then I start saying, okay, let me pursue 50. I think the last 5 years, I pursued 50. And I get to 26 or 30. It becomes a bigger thing when you envision a bigger life. Now, most of you know, I've been a student of board for so many years. If you think big, and let me just ask, some of you, when you say think big, what's think big means for you?
For me, Gary, it'd be 20 deals. For right now, I'd say for me, 20 deals a year would be big for me.
Okay, thank you for sharing. Anybody else?
Like lifestyle, or like how many units sold?
Lifestyle is part of thinking big. What does that mean for you?
For me, it means, I don't know, sailing on a giant yacht, talking with famous people, I don't know, being an art collector,
All right,
collecting cool
cool.
cars, helping
Awesome.
people,
Okay.
donating.
I would say for me, it's something you said earlier. And when I think big, I think it's something that takes me out of my comfort zone, something that I ordinarily would not do. So when I think big, it's something that makes me uncomfortable, that it's, like I said, it's something I wouldn't ordinarily do.
Okay. Thank you. Anybody else? So whatever it is we think big needs to be bigger than, let me say this way. We talk about the programming of our mind, right? The programming that we have in our mind is based on who, what we've seen our parents do, what we've seen our friends do, what we know around us, right? And because of what we know around us, we feel certain way about things as to how it should be done, because this is what we've seen it being done like. You guys follow me? Okay, let me take the share thing off. Because I want to make sure I'm connecting with you guys. So why can't I find my Jesus Lord? My mouse just disappeared, Lord. My mouse just disappeared. Okay. So programming is what we've seen people do around us, and because of that, we feel a certain way about how things should be done, right? And because we feel a certain way about how things should be done, we act certain way around it, right? And then we do what we know that's been done, and we get the same result that we've always gotten. So when we change our concept and we bring new information to us, like, okay, what does thinking big mean? If it can be bigger than what we've seen around us. Let me just say this way. Let's say, well, I was raised in, I won't say a poverty level. My parents did pretty well in the neighborhood that I was raised in, right? But my mom had 3 houses, but we don't go on vacations. We didn't go to see the world. You just know the little area that you were born in. That's where you stay in, right? So in order for me to think bigger than what I was exposed to, I've got to see something more. And I think it's when we see something more of ourselves, like Max was describing, okay, maybe you don't come from an area where, you're in a yacht, sailing, but you see that. And when you see those bigger things, it connects you into the heart of what you do. So now, when you're dealing with, first of all, our main issue as realtors is to lead generate, right? That's our main issue, that we think lead generation is a big deal, because the numbers show if you lead generate, whatever your numbers are, and we're going to talk about that a little bit later on, whatever your numbers are, if you lead generate, you're going to get the result that you get. So if you're talking to 20 people, it takes you talking to 20 people to get a referral. It takes you 40 people to get an appointment. It takes you 100 people to get an appointment. Whatever the numbers are, they are your numbers, right? So now you just got to go double up on those numbers to get a bigger result. And oftentimes we don't want to do that because it feels like it's too much that we're doing, right? So envisioning that bigger life is going to take us to the place where nothing, the little work we're doing is not going to impede us from getting it done. You guys follow me? Okay. All right. So every day we lead generate for buyers and sellers. Just by being here today, you're getting training and coaching. Great job. So finally, we want to get the goals for our business. What does that mean? We're talking about, we got to set a meaningful goal. Now, I don't want you, if you've done 3 deals last year, don't go project on doing 20 deals the year after, right? unless you're going to do massive things different from what you did from your three goals. But at least you want to pursue, it's not too bad to want to pursue 100%. But if you're going to pursue 100%, make sure you're going to give it 100% more effort than what you did last year, right? So we want to set goals that our heart can connect to. If you've done 10 deals, okay, and you see the activities you do to get the 10 deals. Okay, if I can just double up on that activity, I can then go for 20 deals. Now, if we want to jump from 10 to 30, you probably need to have another, again, you need to have a business plan and say, okay, this is what I did, last year. What more can I do? If I only lead generate, once a week last year, okay, maybe I need to double it up this year. And then, if it's just activity, when you plan those activities, we're going to talk more about that. So who we are and where we want to go determine what we do and what we accomplish. That's one thing from Gerry. Who we are and where we want to go determine what we do and what we accomplish. Real estate is a great place where you can really set any goals. You can set any goals, but you have to put activities behind the goals. So my thing is not that, okay, I think at the very minimum, you should set goal to do 12 deals, right? And if you know what your average sales point is, our average sales point is really influenced by the people we surround ourselves with, right? Some people will tell me, like, Gerry, you do the $600,000, $500,000. I got to do a $1.5 million deal. Great. Do you surround yourself with people like that? And then you have to make effort. Like, I live in a neighborhood where my neighbors, all their homes are over, between 1.5 to 2.5 million, right? So getting them, but having a relationship with them to the point where I can get business opportunity from them is, I have to cultivate that, do an event in the neighborhood to come. And by doing those events, one of them say, okay, Gerry, I'm looking to sell my house. We're going to move to San Francisco. I want to hear you, your pitch. I'm not saying I'm going to hire you. Sold it. It was $1.3 million, right? Great. And some of them still sold their house without calling me at all, because they have deeper relationship with other people. That's so you just have to make that effort. Like, okay, if this is the price point I want to do, you have to set up activities, and you have to keep doing those activities over and over in order for you to get the result you want to get, right? So I just read a quote. I don't know if it's on you guys. This. I gotta get used to the technology of. But anyway, in your brochure, you see the quote I read: "Who we are and where we want to go determine what we do and what we accomplish." I'm curious to see if anybody else has any thoughts on that.
I think it's very deep. It makes you look at the things around you and what you are influenced by and why you do the things you do.
Thank you for that. Absolutely, I do agree with you, because again, who we are and who we choose to become, right? Who you are is what you know, and who you choose to become is what you put intention on activities that you're going to do to become that person you want to become. You guys follow me? So, all right. So I think let me share the screen again. So I don't. Okay, so who we have, what we want to go determine what we do and what we accomplish. This is talking about that. So we think, there is a book that's I'm sure you all know that book, Think and Grow. What is it? Think and Grow Rich,
Yes.
right? Okay, so there is I'm always curious. I'm sure everybody knows why you all see the way it says think and grow rich. I have an idea about it, but I just want to get some opinion on that.
About the term think and grow rich.
Mm-hmm.
I think as a man thinketh, so shall he be.
Yeah.
So it's about
Amen.
Nice.
Mhm.
Nice. I love that.
Mm.
So we've got to think. It's not just do and grow rich. It's thinking and grow rich, right? So if we want to be better, we got to think better, right? And then what we are going to talk about today is action plan that we can put onto it to make us be that better. Whatever your mindset is, if you're working part-time and you do real estate part-time, then you have to put action plan like, okay, on my days off, this is what I can do. By the way, you can be part-time and still killing this business. I honestly, family reunion is coming up in February. It's going to be digital. Most of you that have not gone to family reunion before, I really encourage you to subscribe to it this year, and you see classes and you see people that's killing it at whatever level, because that's what the focus is. They bring people in, and you see people that's in your level of, maybe they don't have as much time to put into the real estate, but they have limited time. However, they choose to make the little limited time, they put in the activities and they get great results from it. So you can model yourself after somebody like you, like that. So we think, we act, and then we can achieve. So thinking is the bigger thing that keeps us going. If you look at the graph right there, thinking is the bigger thing that keeps you going. Time and effort gets you the result. So if you do little action, you get little result. If you do massive action, you get massive results. It's just really, if I know, let me just share with you guys, because I love cold calling. I really do. It's still in my blood, because it's easier for somebody you don't know to reject you, and you can brush it off and move forward.
Exactly.
I had issues with people I know when they reject me, right? It's like a scar, and I'll carry that with me. So I will do minimum of my sphere calling. And I had a coaching call about 2 years ago, and my coach looked at my previous year, and we'll look at the calls I make. And back then, I used to make 5 calls of cold calling and 5 days of cold calling, and maybe really I'll do two or three calls to my database. And we look at the result I was getting from the cold calling. Now, this is just knowing who you are and knowing your numbers, right? So when you do 1,000 cold call, you get maybe 5 people you put on your database, and maybe 1 referral or appointment. And then we look at, back then I do hardly any calls to my database. And we will look at the few, now we look at the deals, the actual thing that I got paid on. And we'll look at 80% of them came from a database, a previous client, blah, blah, blah. And the massive amount of time I put on the cold calling, I get like 2 or 3 deals out of it. So my coach is like, Gerry, you're taking action, but you're taking action in the wrong place. It's not working for you. So you got to know your business and say, okay, this is what you got to do. Let's change it around, and you get different results. Let's stop share. Okay. Well, I guess I gotta. Look like I gotta keep sharing because I think some of this stuff are critical that we both go through it together. Okay. Oh, how do I go back? Okay. Why does it feel like it's not filling up the whole thing? All right. Yes. So in order to have a bigger life, right? This is really the key. In bold, there's activity we do, we call it the check register. Anybody ever done that before? Okay, so none of you has taken the bold before? All right, so we do, Richard, okay, you took bold before?
And I have.
Okay, so we do this check register, and I'm gonna tell you, this is like really awesome, okay? When I first took bold, we did this check register. They give you, basically you have money they give you to spend. You got $1,000, you have to spend it, and you have to itemize it. And you can't save it, you can't use it to pay off any debt. You just gotta spend it on anything you want. And then the next day, they double that up for you. And you again, nice $2,000. And the next day they double it up again, that's $4,000. And I used to have the most really hard time figuring out to spend this 4,000, especially when it gets to 8 and 16,000. Like, what am I gonna spend it on? And I can't, and it was a struggle. And as I begin to take more bold, now it gets to the point where I can spend $1 million. And the difference is the mindset, is that here's what happens is when you get to spending $1 million, $2 million, and $4 million, because now you got to go outside of yourself. When you're spending $1,000, I'm thinking, okay, I'm going to buy clothes for my daughter, clothes for my some little gift for my son. Then you go to the $3,000. Oh, you can take a vacation. And then you have to plan. Okay, you're gonna fly to Vegas. You just minimize your thinking, right? And then when you start getting to the 500,000, now you're done with anything you can spend for yourself. And then you start imagining, what can I do? What foundation can I be part of? Oh, what if I'm part of Peace Corps and I go do this, or I provide this to the Red Cross? And what it does is your mind start expanding, right? And that's really what happens with our goal setting. In this activity, to envision your big life, we're gonna do an activity to help you. Once you have that vision in place, then you can set meaningful goals that will bring you closer. So I want you guys to just get a plain paper, because I think if we don't do this, you're not gonna feel it. Get a pen, paper, and I want you to, not so much as the way it's on the screen, I just want you to imagine what you need to spend for yourself, what you need for yourself. Even if you don't have your own family, like you're a single person, you have people close to you, what would you like to do for people close to you? If you have a family, now look at what you can do for your family. And if you have parents, what you can do for your parents, right? And then, so write down on one square what you're gonna want to do for yourself, or you'd like to see happen for yourself. And then another square, write down what you want to do for your family, or people you're connected to. And then when you're done with that, I want you to, on the last square, I want you to see what would you like to do for the world. Just write one or two things, and I'll give you a couple of minutes to do that. Why is this mouse, man? Everybody done? Okay, stop share for a second. Okay, so let's get some examples on what you guys would like to do for yourself, or you'd like to see happen for you.
Okay, I'll go.
Oh, okay.
Thank you.
I'll go with for myself. I'll just share about 2 or 3 of them. Is pay off my school loan. I gotta knock that bad boy out. So pay off the school loan, pay off my mortgage, and then I want to invest in another piece of property. So that's for myself. For my family, I just want to help pay down some credit card bills that are just beyond. Help them with that, which is my mom and my auntie that comes to mind. For the world, I just want to help donate to my church family that I participate in, and just really help them with the needs that they have. And for my sister circle, I want to be able to purchase for us to just go on a really fun trip, all expense paid, and we just have a blast, and we can stay for a week, 2 weeks, whatever that we want to, and just not have to worry about anything. But I want to be able to just pour back into them and just have a good time.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing. Anybody else?
I'll go. For myself, pretty much like Yolanda, I want to pay off my mortgage, go on an exotic vacation. For my family, I would say buy my mom another home, invest in my husband's business, and again, pay off my daughter's student loans. And then for the world, I want to be rid of this pandemic. Um, seriously, so that we can all go back out. But just, donate to homeless shelters, and to, basically to homeless shelters and people who are in need. And of course, my church as well, to donate to my church as well.
Awesome. Thank you.
Mhm.
One last person on that.
I want to travel, and I'd like to get really good at an instrument. I don't know, take writing classes, for my parents and family. I want to buy them trips and fancy dinners. For the world, donate, definitely donate, do some sort of projects, helping the poor in some area. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. All right, anybody else? So here's the thing. When we have something like this in our mind, wanting to be able to pay for the sisters to go out, wanting to go on a flight, wanting to cruise the world. Well, all of this is going to take money, right? If we start associating our activity with this accomplishment, would that be a big life to everybody?
Yeah.
So the activities that we do, the lead generation that you do, if you start associating it, my wife is like, let me just share. My daughter just last night, her 30th birthday is coming up, and really going into this year is because of her. Like she told me that I had, she's always had a goal to go to medical school, and we've been thinking about, okay, do we get a loan for her for the medical school? I paid off a BA program loan that I took for her already. So we're talking about medical school, like it's gonna cost 100,000, and hearing 200,000. I don't know what exactly it's gonna be. So I'm like, going into this past year, I said, okay, I'm gonna set a goal to accomplish where I have enough to pay for a medical school program as she goes along. And what is that gonna look like? So I'm like, okay, and I told her, I said, give me the prime schools you're looking at. How much is it gonna be per year? And I'm hearing 33, 35,000. I'm like, okay, I can do that. And so when you start associating what you do with, okay, I need to be able to cut a check for this amount. And real estate gives us that opportunity, by the way, folks. It really does. Want to pay off the student loans, it gives you that. You can, if you, it's just getting one more activity in place. So when we have this in the core of us, the activity then does not feel so heavy, because right now we all make it look like it's such a heavy thing to do. Oh, if I tie myself down to this, is this boring? No, it takes the bottom out of it. It actually takes, you put energy into it, and whatever you put energy into, you're gonna get the result. So, okay, let's kind of move on from there, because a lot of stuff to share on this thing. Okay, where's the share screen again? Are you? Okay. So when now that we have envisioned and we've envisioned that big life, so let's look at what it means for us to achieve that goal through real estate. Because whatever life it is that you imagine, real estate can make that happen. So let's look at what it's going to take to do that. Okay. So whatever money you make, right? You have to look at, it's going to go in separate ways. The first thing you need to understand your commission and how it works. Many new agents get a check for their first closing, pocket it all, signing them out, and then get in trouble down the line. But when we talk about where the money goes and what it will is actually going to do, These numbers are are very important for us to to really know where our money is going each way, right? So we know if you are, if you get a seller listing, you get a 6% listing. Is all of that 6% gonna come to you? No, right? So you're gonna split it with the other agent unless you double it, which is great when you do that, right? You're gonna pay your market center some money. You have business expenses, and then you want to set some aside for your taxes. So that, I mean, I struggled through this for a long time, and I had to find a way around it. And I'll talk to you guys about that later on if you haven't done that. Because it's either you're paying you're doing your quarterly payment, and you really setting up the money aside as you're going along, or you make sure you have enough that at the end of the quarter you can pay whatever you're supposed to pay to the IRS, right? Okay, why is this thing not done? Okay, so let's get started on the numbers. Well, we know our average sales price is not 300,000 here, right? I think at the very least, you probably say 650, 700. Some of you, your average sales price is $1 million, which is fine. You just gotta know who you are. If you have average sales price of $1 million plus, great, right? Your circle of influences, whatever that may be, that's why I was talking to somebody the other day, and she was telling me, like, the people I know that she knows, they live in PV, Malibu, and she doesn't want to call them. I'm like, really? Those kind of people? That's like, you have your average price point can be 1.3, 1.5 million. So it's really all about your circle of influences, because that's, at the end of the day, that's going to generate how much income you have. I think my assistant said, oh my God, like when I call my database, I get so many buyer referrals, and they're mostly all first-time buyers, right? And then I have to look at, okay, what can they qualify for? Where can I find it for them? And go at that. But as you start doing that, over the years, I remember one lady, the first house I sold her was like 200,000. And 4 years later, she sold it for 330, and then she bought something for about 400,000. And another 4 years, actually about 5 years later, she sold that 400,000. Now we sold it for 530 or 525, somewhere there. And then she went and bought something, for 650. So it's like a mover buyer, it's a process. But whatever your average sales price is, you need to know that. And then what your average commission is from that, right? So our objective in this activity is to get real about tying your business to your goals. We're gonna figure out, based on how much money you receive from a transaction, how many transactions you need this year to meet your goal, all right? Are you guys following with me on your guide? Because I don't know what page it is for you guys. So let's see, there is a get real about your goal setting. Let me see. Okay. So we'll use the sample in describing, but if you guys have, I know we all don't print anything out on paper anymore. I actually still like a lot of paperwork, because paper, I see, Max, I love that calendar you have right there. So Max has already got one. Those of you that doesn't have that, you want to get something like that. It's really cool because you can say, okay, at the end of this month, this is what I want to do. At the end of that month, this is what I want to do. And now you can put activities behind it. Okay, how many buyer and seller listings do I need to get in order for me to achieve that? And it's really that simple. I mean, if you're hitting your numbers for the month, great. Honestly, going back this whole year, I don't think I hit my goal at any month. There's one month that I was like really, really close, but I didn't hit it at all. And there was a month that's like, oh my God, it could be a whole lot better, right? But you set the goals and you do the activity, and then you get the result that you're gonna get from the activity you put in. So in this situation, you look at, if you make 27,000, you're gonna pay 3,000 royalty, and actually in our market center, I think our company payoff is like 18 and the royalty is 3,000, so it's like 21 altogether. I don't know why, even though we're in South Bay, we pay less. I'm sure we're not gonna complain about that. All right. So we want to roll, I think even planning 100, a lot of times you make 100,000. I think this my second year in real estate, I did 109, and it felt good, but at the end of the day, you really end up with like $60,000. You didn't make that much. So the next year I had to say, I need to make 150 so that I'm not short, at least net the 100,000, right? But let's just go on because most people, if we have a client that comes in and they make $100,000 for the year, we know they are a pretty decent buyer, right? So if we're gonna make 100,000, out of the 100,000, you have a royalty, in our situation about 21,000, and then you have business expenses. I mean, of course, it depends on what your business plan is. This is why you have to know your business plan. Well, what do I want to do? I mean, I did mostly just calling for a long time, and generating 200, 230 in GCI, right? And I can keep a lot of that. Now my expenses really off the roof. But again, you gotta know what those expenses are. And I had to get comfortable with that. Like, oh my God, if you wanna go to that next level is gonna require more marketing dollar, more expenses that you put up, and just, you gotta plan it. So in this case, when this person is making 100,000 and the average GCI is 9,000, at the very least for us, we can see our average GCI is 15, right? At the very least, right? If you sell 600,000, that's, in South Bay, most people pay 2.5% to the buyer's agent or whatever. That's 15 grand, right? So instead of doing 20 transactions, if you're doing 15 grand GCI, how many transactions do we need to do? I'm sure you all know your numbers pretty well. So let's get to the point as to how we set our point, our goal. If you have $100,000 GCI goal, and some of you, will have a $250,000 goal, and some of you may even have a $500,000 goal. But let's just say, for the group of us, if we do, I'm gonna say let's plan on 150. So really, if we do 150 in our goal, we pay royalty of 21,000. So and our average is at least 15,000. So we can do that 150,000 with less than 20 deals. Some of you can do it with 10 deals, right? So 10 deals at $15,000, boom, that's $150,000 in GCI. You guys follow me?
Yes.
So now we can now go in and say, okay, how do we hone in on activities to generate that? Because I want you to be blessed, and just like you have a client that comes in and they make $100,000, $110,000, they're going to be able to afford to buy something decent, right? So I want you guys to really, everybody write it down, because I don't want you to, let's just, if we pass through this, look like we're spending it, it's not right. Write down what your goal would be. Write down, what your, in our case, your company dollar and royalty cap is 21,000. So take it from that, and then put what your average will be, and tell us how many transactions you need to get there.
A quick question I have.
Yes, sir.
Is business expenses is included in the tax and insurance, and what item exactly? $50,000.
No, your business expenses will be like your marketing dollar. If you take a listing, you're gonna spend money to send out just listed, just sold, flyers, those
Right.
kind of stuff. Those are your business expenses. Yeah.
And these business expenses should be already for the purpose of a tax. I'm going to ask this question. It should be documented. Is that correct?
It should be set aside. Yes. And yeah, you're right. You could put 20% of your earnings as your taxes, because you're right. That's something you're gonna have to pay later on.
20% or 30%? I'm confused.
Well, I think in this price point, if you're making this income, I think 20% will be fine. Some agents put 30%, but that's if you don't know write-offs. I think we all. I think I was at KW Beverly Hills, and I was talking to this guy. He's done like 100,000. Like the last 6 years. And I said, how much you pay in taxes? And I wrote everything up. I'm like, damn, you're not showing any income? And said, no. Yeah, I don't know if I want to be like that. I think, one of the mistakes we made when we do that is we don't have the ability to buy anything if you're showing zero income, right? So you got to pay taxes. If you pay taxes, then you have income that qualifies you, because I was listening to Gerry the other day. He said, any property you sell, you got to think about, can I buy this property? Is there a reason why I cannot buy this property? And honestly, every property that I have owned is something I show to a client. I remember I went showing a house to a client, and the lady was like, "Oh my God, this place is so nasty, blah, blah, blah." I said, well, and I was trying to convince her, like, listen, in your price point, you can get this, you can do an FHA 203K, fix it up, and you'll have the value. And she said, no, I can do this, I can do this. I'm like, okay. I left that place. I went home, thought about it really heavily. I made an offer on that property myself. And that was my first flip. I flipped it, and we made like 25 grand in selling the property. So yeah, you've got to be willing to pay taxes, because if you don't pay taxes, you don't show income and you don't have opportunities in your life. Any other questions?
And do you have any, for setting up a budget? Yesterday, we have a business plan class with Sonia, and for set up a budget and set up a goal, actually, you are talking about today. Do you have any percentage for that fund or the range of that fund that we could, kind of predictive budget before find that projected budget? That this is for instance, I know company dollars in South Bay. How much is that based on my contract? I could put exactly what I have. Then for business expenses, usually you said that 20%. Is that correct?
It's within 20 to 30%. Yeah.
20 to 30%.
As when you are individual agent, your business expenses are very low. Okay. As you get into develop your business, where you're in a team format, your business expenses become pretty high, right? Again, everything is business expenses is correlative to your goals, right? If you need to reach 1,000 people, it's different from if you want to reach 300 people, and if you want to stay consistent in marketing to that 1,000 people, it's going to cost you more money, right? But as far as the Red Book is a great place to go to. You'll see the economic model in the Red Book, and it shows you what your expenses supposed to be. If you're doing 6 million in sales, if you're doing 10 million in sales, 16 million, 25, 35, it'll show you, what your expenses should be. And you want to try and model off of that because that's sample off of, thousands of agents. And you want to at least make sure you're keeping the model there. But what this exercise is for you guys to have clarity on, okay, if I want to accomplish this goal, these are the expenses I'm going to have. This is my average income. Just look at the last 6 sales you've had. That's your kind of average, right? So look at that average and put that down. And what I just wanted to know is for each one of you to tell me, based on your calculation, how many transaction goals do you need to have going to 2021?
I have 13.
Good, thank you.
Mhm.
Anybody else?
I have 20.
Awesome.
I have 15.
Thank you. Really important that everybody knows this number. It really is important. When you know this number, it's what's going to drive you every month, every week, and every day. What am I going to do to get to that number? What am I going to do to get to that number? And, like I said, I did order for a bunch of these big calendars from Sonia. I've been trying to get hold of her. So if you all can message me or stop by my office upstairs, I should have some extra of those calendars for some people if you don't have it already. And it's really important that you put it down there. So what I did last year was I put it quarterly. So when I put my goals the first quarter, and I was like really 10% of the goal in the first quarter. So it really made me generate more energy to my business in the second quarter. And then I started moving, a little closer to where I want to be. So whatever the goal is, and by the way, please don't look at anybody else and say, oh, because that person got 20, I gotta, it may be 20 because they need 20 to hit the numbers. And the same number, it may just, based on your average, it may just be 6, deals. That's okay. You just gotta know your numbers. If the last 6 deals you did was 1.2 million, okay. So for you to get to 10 million, it may not be that much to get there, right? Because that's the big life that you see for yourself at this point. And by the way, it's really important that what you visualize is what you connect to. If you, I'd love to share something with you guys, but it's too deep that I can't really share. But I was talking to somebody the other day, well, it was a while back now, and the person made a comparison with me and them, and it made me to feel very low, like, okay, I gotta go do something about this. And I went researching, doing, everything to find out what I can do about this thing. Come to find out that KW, I don't want to use bad language. That individual,
Come on, it's okay.
they actually disconnect from that thing, less than a year later. And I've been pursuing this thing like, oh, I gotta do this thing. I'm like, oh my God. It reminds me of the law that do not compare your insights to other people's outside. You have to look at where you are and what matters to you and do that. Okay. Hopefully you guys got value in that.
Yeah,
I have
Gerry,
a quick question.
Okay.
Based on your experience, okay, if we divided the budget in 4 seasons, I'm not sure with the real estate prosperity season. Could we write that one based on the seasons? Based on, because we generate income based on the market, and market when goes well, you generate probably more income, and when the market is down, we generate less. Do you have that type of mindset that what time is real estate is booming as a normal
Time of the year, I
actually
got it.
fiscal
Okay.
year?
That's a good question. I don't really put it down, but what I did is my coach last year said, okay, Gerry, based on where you are, you need to hit 15% of your goal in January. So 100% goal, but in January, you need to hit 15% of it. So if you hit 15% of your goal in January, you're likely to do 100% at the end of the year, because you're right. In different times, the markets come down normally, but then, you could have those once in a blue moon type of thing where you have a strong market, even when the market is down. But the model is that if you hit your goal early in January, you are likely to accomplish your goal. So, and in order for you to have that strong January, guess what? We need to be very super active now. I figure, I was telling my assistant just this morning, I said, listen, if we hit our goals that we need to hit for January, again, I'm not looking, anything I'm closing now, it's not going to close now. If you get a deal in escrow, now it's not going to close in December. It's going to close in January, right? So let's work hard to get those escrows started before the end of the month. And our 2021 looks completely different in terms of, because again, I create another goal that's kind of crazy, for 2021. And we know we're going to need some help along the way in order for me to, and I can see that already, like, okay, to do that, I'm going to need some help along the way. Where do I get the help? Where do I enlist the help? It's what we're navigating through. So yes, to your question, absolutely. Know where you are. If you've got, 20 goals, to do, well, if you can hit 3 of them in January, you've got a good chance to make that goal happen. And if you have 13, let's go do 2 for January. Let's focus on doing that now. The activity we do now to generate those 2 opportunities. Don't wait till January and then starting to get it 2. No, because it's not going to close in January. It's going to close in February, right? Okay. Anybody
Gerry,
else have any?
I had a question. So Gerry, it's safe to say that you basically take your annual goals and then you break those down in quarters. Is that how you use the calendar?
Yeah.
Okay. Awesome.
Okay. So set goals in command. Okay. I'm not going to be the great person to teach that part. Okay. Just gotta know who you are. The command is great to let you know. I mean, I think I went on a listing really consultation yesterday, but my assistant put it. Why is this thing not sharing? Golly. Okay. Okay. So set your goal in command. Everybody have access to command, right? So command is so cool that when you go in, and this is a good time to set up your 2021 in it. You go in and say, okay, I want to do this amount. You put the amount you want to do, and your average sales point, and it tells you exactly how many deals you need to do to get there, right? And now you want to set up activities for again, based on your numbers. All right, let me just read this to you guys so I don't. So command has goal setting and tracking built into the reports applet. These goals are based on the MRE economic model and utilize the contacts and opportunities applets in command to track the activities and production. So you log into your command with your KW credentials, choose the report icon on the left side of the page. At the top of the page, click goals, goal setting, and then just go through that. I don't want to stop the class for that now, but I'm going to say, please, as we finish, I'm going to give you all the details that you need to know with this class. And then as we finish, go into command and do it, because command will bug you along the way that you have zero part of your goal. And when you start getting those stuff, it will continue to make you, if you're someone that's driven to accomplish your goals, it will continue to push you to get in there. So you can set your, I'm not really good on this, so I hired a VA, and this lady's been really awesome. And she's been setting up this stuff. So that's why yesterday, even though we were on the phone doing prospecting together, and I had an inbound call, it was really a consultation. And I went downstairs, and our team leader, Simon's like, Gerry, how did your listing presentation went to them? Like, damn, okay. I'm exposed. But that's really cool. By him saying that, I was like, so my mindset is not even good enough. I should have gone in for a listing presentation. By the way, I have an opportunity to turn that to a listing. It was supposed to be a refi, but I had to give him a few days to think through. But that's cool. Command lets you be open so you can get, accountability, even from, your productivity coach, your coach. I have a coach, MAPS coach, and, and the team leader can also get access to it and see where you are. Well, I guess it's telling me that you guys need to go in and do it. Can you guys take about 5 minutes? I don't think it'll take 10 minutes because time is moving. Go into command. Everybody have access to their command? It's on your phone, right? You can go on Kelly, click on command, and follow the direction. And let's set it up. If somebody can let me know when they're done, that'd be great.
In what part of command we should go? What in setting?
It says goal setting. So you log in there. At the top of the page, you click on the goals, and then you see goal setting right there, and just click get started. If you at least get started, you don't have to fully finish it. You know you're in it, and then you can go back in it and finish it out. But I think we've all take time to envision what that big life will be, and whatever that number is telling you, what you want to take on, you want to put that number down. If it's 100,000, it's 150. If it's 200, 250, 300, 350. I'm thinking big, really for next year. That I love to see. I really believe at our office, with these core agents we have, and I believe we can have $1 million producers in our office. I believe 5 of us should be making them, doing $1 million, and we should have 10 people doing 500,000, and 20 people doing 250. I really believe that, and I think at the very least, everybody got to do 100,000. If you're part-time, again, you just got to know your model. It may just be 4 or 5 deals to get in there, right? I know a lot of our agents, if I tell them to come help some of my clients, like, ooh, really, Gerry? I don't want to deal with somebody that's for 50,000. Cool. Deal with your $1 million, client, but be purposeful. Like, okay, if I get 5 or 6 of them, that's boom, right there. So I really think, 6 million is like $180,000 in commission. So everybody can be doing that. Okay, so everybody at least got the goal started. Awesome. Okay, so now we want to do the right activities. So setting the goals that matter. Now that we've envisioned what that goal will look like, yeah, and we didn't go too crazy, because I didn't ask anybody to go crazy. I just say, envision that big life that you want, because you have to think bigger than where you are. You can't be comfortable with where you are. When I came into real estate, I used to work in retail industry. So I know what 100,000 look like, because I made $100,000 selling retail, for almost 4 or 5 years straight. So when I came into real estate, it was like, okay, I want to do more than that. And really, my first year, I probably could have done it my first year, but I just had to stop real estate to deal with something else. But my second year, I did 109, and never looked back since then. So you've got to know what you want, what that life is going to be like, and then really call in on the activities. So this point is not our conversation now is not to be discouraging, is to equip you with reality of how to succeed. No matter how big your goal, you can achieve it in real estate business as long as you focus your time and efforts on the right business activities. Okay, so let's see what that is. To get into the right business is everybody know about the 80-20 principle?
80% of 80% of result of any business transaction comes from 20% of people who work there actually or make effort. So
thank you. You're right on the money, my man. So it's really like that everywhere. I find out even at my church when 20% of the people tied at church, and it carries the church to meet the obligations and stuff like that. So it's really everywhere. It's 20% activities gets the 80% result. So what are those 20% activities? Because a lot of us love the non-productive activity, right? In the administration, oh, I gotta work on my website. I gotta work on my CRMLS. I gotta work on this. I gotta work on that. Those are, and then when we get an escrow, holy moly! Oh, I want to do all the paperwork for the escrow. I want to do all of that. It's like those are not gonna achieve much. And I'm actually struggling. I had a client that came up yesterday, like, Gerry, I'm not gonna refer you anybody else anymore. You're not dealing with me. I'm in escrow with you. I can't talk to you, blah, blah, blah. So I had to slow down for her, not to feel like that. But I feel like what she's saying is, I know I'm doing the right thing. She wants me to tie it up. With her in all the escrow process, I said, no, I have staff to take care of that for you. I'm out looking for another opportunity. But really, I remember when I first started, we had a team leader, Pete Trice, and I think, of course, it's 1 in 100% where I did the first open house, and some of the buyers that came in liked the house, and I wrote an offer for them, and the offer got accepted. Like, whoa, this is great. This is so easy. That never happened after that. So I'm like, wow, this is cool. And our team leader told me, they said, Gerry, that's good. Go get another one. I'm like, what do you mean? I just got this one. This is like really big. It's like, this is like in 19, was that? No, it's 2007. And $16,000 was pretty big money. I'm looking at it, whoa, this is it. It's like, no, go get another one. And you know what? I listened to him. I really went after looking for another client. And that's the mistake a lot of us make, like, oh, we got one. Now we gotta be all in the activity, the escrow process. We want to be the escrow officer, we want to be the TC, want to be everything. No, that's a waste of your time. You really gotta focus on getting more, doing more lead generation, doing more follow-ups, doing more going on appointments, doing more negotiating, and practice and role play, and get another deal, and get another deal, and get another deal. So in the 1940s, quality control manager, Dr. Joseph M. Duran, documented a life-changing universal principle that he called the vital few and travel many. So the vital few and travel many. The idea was that a relatively small percentage of your effort lead to the vast majority of your results. And again, this is the 80%. You make more money and time with family when you're more organized. I went to family reunion. There's a lady that she works from 8 to 3 o'clock every day. And she has a massive business doing about 50 million. Yeah, 50 million in transactions. And guess what? She worked with buyers. That lady is still, I don't know if anybody know her. It's an Indian lady, Sri Lanka. I have her on my phone. The name I actually met her, I think in Florida one time, and just kind of hung with her for a minute to talk to her. She works 8 to 3. She was completely, but she had a business model of dealing with buyers. I think Gerry Keller had to get on her to dealing with more sellers. Our business model was just buyers. And, when I was talking to her, I wish I remember the name. I say, so if you deal with buyers, where do they come from mostly? Is it from Zillow? She said, no, 80% of them come from our database. 80%. Can you imagine? And I think she's in the market. It's not like LA. They probably do like 350 to 450 sales average to do 50 million. But because she has a business model, she's gone on by 3 o'clock. Now she has like a lot of agents that work with her. Okay, and she has a lot of administrative people that do the follow up and keep the transaction going. But it's just knowing a model, and she does it year after year. I mean, at Mega Camp, she used to be on stage, literally. Oh, what is her name? Just like off my head. Okay, let me not bugger too much on that. But that's knowing if you focus on your 20%. So now let me just go through, make sure everybody knows what those 20% are. I'm going to be calling on, let me see everybody that's on the line. Okay, I see some people that haven't speak before. How do I go into this? Should agree. Okay. You guys are lucky. I don't know how to do this thing very well. Okay. Can you guys tell me what are the 20% that we should be following up on?
The activities that are going to generate us business, whether it be calling someone or sending emails, whatever is going to generate business should be, I think, that's what I thought, should be the 20%.
Well, yeah, you're right. What are those activities though?
Making phone calls, following up, lead generating, basically.
Those are your two major ones. And of course, from those calls, you get opportunities to go on appointments, right?
Okay, appointments.
Yeah, going on appointments and, negotiating when you have deals in escrow, you're negotiating on them. And script play, really good to own in on the script play. Even if you don't have a partner, just have a script before you. When I'm calling, even though I know a lot of my scripts off it, I still have all the scripts right in front of me. So that, if somebody take me off track, I'll go back, like, okay, this is what I'm talking about. It right in front of me allows me to go back into it, right? So you don't go way off track. I mean, people can take you off track all the time. So those are the key things. If your day is a jar, you put your big rocks in it first. If you put your little rocks, sand, gravel, all that in first, you won't have room for the big rocks. So your big rocks are the most important activities of your day. And those which cannot be skipped. Your little rocks are distractions or smaller tasks that may need to be done, but aren't going to get you materially closer to your goal. Every morning I come into the office, I make my calls, and now today I had to prepare for this class. So I told my assistant, tell my VA, because she's on the call with me when we do lead generation. I said, after this class, I'm going to take a break. 1 o'clock, we'll hit it, because there's really no time in the day that you can't make calls. So, if life happens and you skip a point, go back to it later on. I've shared this with so many people before. Let me just, Sally, can you come in? Okay, I got it. Never mind. Okay. I wanted to share this with you guys again. Because when I first start my real estate, and I know some of you may have life happens where you need to take care of a family member, and we're in a pandemic, for God's sake, right now, right? Things may happen where you need to take care of people, and you need to go do that. You need to be present for yourself, for your family. There are things that happen. Even in your business, you may have a major issue with a client, like, okay, let me go resolve that, right? You take care of it. I wanted to share my story with you guys. When I first started real estate, literally I had my first sale, and my daughter had a major bad accident. That it was brain injury, blah, blah. We're in the hospital for like really 4 months. And even when she came back home, she was like in a vegetable stage. So talk about lead generating. That's where it's tough to do lead generating. When you have a vegetable stage daughter, being careful. So at that time I had social help, the county help and all that stuff. So they would send us nurses that come and take care of her during the day. Now, for whatever reason, the company that we subscribe to, they just have a time getting people in there every day. So I would get frustrated. And of course, when they come, I got to train them, let them know how to deal with the girl and all that stuff before I can leave. So I used to get frustrated. And it's impossible for me to do prospecting from home. Just the environment I was in is very toxic to energy, right? I need to get out of the house and go to the office. And so I had this coaching call. I started using coaching really a long time, literally almost when I started my business. I was maybe a year into my business, I've had a coach of some level. And I had this coaching call that was really great. It settles me, because by the time sometimes I don't get a nurse showed up, or we have 3 shifts to fill, one person coming in the daytime, one person coming in the afternoon, and one person come at night, because it was that bad. And if they don't show up during the daytime, so I'm stuck at home till, my kids, my other 2 kids come back from school, mainly my older daughter that can help with her younger sister. So I got this coaching call, and it told me, I said, Gerry, you have a lot of noise in your life. Don't get worked up by it. If things work well, you can go to the office, you can prospect from 8:30 or 9 to 11, good. If things doesn't work well, whenever you're done with your family life, just make the first 2 hours that you're available to go to work and do your prospecting. I'm like, cool. So that hit me from then, that, okay, like I'm doing this thing with you guys, I can do my normal call, this morning, but this afternoon I'll make time for it. I think on Tuesday, no, not this week, last week, where I had another event, uh, mastermind or something like that. Uh, and it was when I was done with it, I told the girl, "Come on, we make calls from 3:30." And we did calls from 3:30 to 5:30, and we actually got some leads, that day. So don't say because you have things going on. If you're part-time, you just gotta be that focused. Like, okay, in order for me to get this number of transaction, I need to get this. We're gonna come to that in a minute. Let me not overly say stuff. But you guys follow that. Just it doesn't matter. Get back to it and do what you need to do. Okay. Okay, so what is the one thing you can do right now that will make everything else easier on or unnecessary? And that's from the one thing. So this is another way to identify your 20% and ask questions central to the one thing. So while you read this question, it takes some practice to dig down and find the best answer. So let's walk through that together, right? So you guys see the question, right? And what's the one thing we can do right now that make everything not necessary or unimportant? What successful agents do every day, right? We want to lead generate for buyers and sellers. That's really what it comes down to, right? You want to lead generate with them. So, looking at this slide of activities, right? What is the one thing that we must do?
Lead generate.
Yep. It's the one thing, first thing every day. Here's the thing. I want to give you guys even permission. Like, look, just do this for 2 hours. And if you can do it for 2 hours, do it for 1 hour, because everybody's goals is different, right? Just recognize that you've got to talk to people in order for opportunities to happen. If it's, you can sit down and wait for calls to come, and they may come, but how many will come, right? It's being purposeful where opportunity comes. If you say, okay, based on my numbers, if you look at the last deal you did, well, maybe not just the last 3 deals you did, what happened? If they're all just inbound calls, well, that means you missed 10 other deals that you could have if you just wait for the inbound calls and you didn't make any call. I always tell people that, when you're in the energy of looking for business, that energy you put out sometimes come back at you. You actually get more calls coming back at you if you put more energy out. You guys follow me?
Mm-hmm.
All right, so let's on in on how we can get this done. So, again, the number one thing is, if we do the number one thing, everything else will flow along. Because when you lead generate, that's when you can do lead follow up. That's when you can go on appointments. Everything else follow up. That's why, just because you have appointments set up, I think I have 2 appointments set up for today. And yesterday I had 2 appointments, but just because I have that doesn't mean you don't lead generate for new business, new opportunities, because that's how many times have you guys been with a seller? I had a few cancellations this past year. Even in the last 3 months, I had people that sign a listing agreement and then they backed out on it, right? I had one lady this year that really a great listing, and she wanted to sell the house mainly because she has a daughter that's like a thorn in her flesh that's living with her in the house. She wants to get the daughter out. So I got a lawyer, I got everybody, and the lawyer wrote a letter to the daughter got it, that left the house 30 days later. And then, all of a sudden, because she was like, I really need to get out, move into a different place, blah, blah. And then when the daughter left, she felt different. Like, oh, I have peace of mind. I think I'm good now again. So if I stop doing the activity and think and I know that listing will sell in 2 days, right? And put in the effort, and it's a 30-day for the lawyer to write a letter and all that stuff. If I stop doing everything else, thinking I got that one, well, that one just collapse on you, and so you see what I'm saying? You just gotta keep doing it every day. Yeah.
I have a question, Gary. I have a question.
Sure.
So I'm like so spanking brand new into this business, which for me is just only 2 months. So
Okay.
with that, I'm at a place where it's a lot of learning for me. And so I see the model of growing the business and running the business. I get it. I get it. I get it. But for me, as a new agent coming in with only 2 months of just learning, it seems like for me, there's two stages that need to go before that. And that's building and learning. And that's where I'm at. So it seems like 80% or most of my time, I'm building the database. I'm building that. I'm building the website. I'm building landing pages. I'm building social media, and I'm learning MLS, and I'm learning how to read contracts. I'm learning these things. So how do I fit in the growing the business and running the business while I'm building and learning? It just seems like a lot, just coming in and not knowing anything about real estate.
Okay, thank you for sharing. I'm sure there are other people that feels like you. Let me give you another example. There are a lot of people like you, yes. There's also somebody else, again, we just had mega camp. Of course, virtual is not the same as when we go to Austin for mega camp. Just either last year or the year before, there was a gentleman that came in as a brand new agent. In the very first year in real estate, he did 230 something transaction. And they were asking him, how do you do that? You've never done real estate before. And you came in, you did 230 transactions. And he said, I read the Red Book and I apply the principle of it. I don't even believe it does some lead generation. He just hired people. I mean, I think he came with money. He had like 21 ISAs and had a bunch of agents, and they just kill it in Maryland. In Maryland. I'm like, really? I don't know the population of Maryland. It's nothing like California, right? So I can also tell you another young lady that I saw in a family reunion. It's about the interview for really producing agent that just started their business. And she came in, she hired an administrator right at the get-go, and she did 66 deals her first year. So I'm giving you this example. Those are really high achieving people. You want to look at the models of people that have done great and follow what they have done. Yes, you need to learn your business. you need to work on, your database and all that stuff. But what I just want you to do is do, just like we just talked earlier on about the big rock, right? If you had a bowl to fill and you fill it with just sand, you're gonna put a lot of sand in there, right? And you're not gonna fill that bowl anytime quickly. But if you put bigger rocks in the bowl and then you put sand in it, and then you put some small rocks in it, you will fill it up much quicker. So your big rock is your lead generation. Just do that for 2 hours, right? If you do that every day for 2 hours, and then after you're done with that, you can go work on your database, you can work on command, whatever it is, you can do all of those other stuff, learn everything that you're learning. As your lead generating opportunities start coming, so now learning the MLS and all that stuff, it will now start connecting together for you. You follow that? So that's what you want to do. Hit that
Okay,
first
thank you.
and then do everything else. Welcome.
Yes, thank you. Thank you.
Okay.
Hey, Gary, I had a question. How many calls do you usually make in a day? And how many of those turn into conversations? And then how many of those turn into appointments, would you say?
The average is obviously what you want to know. First of all, this is what I consider a contact. If I call somebody, they pick up the phone. Hi, this is Gerry Nix with Keller Williams Realty. Click. Like, no, I don't want to talk to you. I'm not doing anything about real estate. Click. That's a contact to me. Okay. And my goal is to hit 20 of those contacts every day. And then you're going to get some people that will talk to you a little bit longer, right? Hi, no, I'm not looking to do anything. Thank you so much for that. Great. I know you may not be looking at doing anything. How long have you been at your place? Oh, we've been here for 15 years, 30 years. Oh, great. And we just keep conversation going, right? And I'll ask, who do you know in your neighborhood that may be likely to move next? Since you've been in your neighborhood for so long, who do you know that's likely to move next? Oh, this person or that person. Oh, I don't know anybody. I don't talk to anybody. Great. Would it be okay if I check with you every 6 months? Just to check on you and see. Great. All right. They're going to command, right? And the people that like, oh no, I'm not doing anything, but my neighbor's gonna do this. I see my neighbor is doing something. Oh, can you tell me the address of that neighbor? Great. Then I'm gonna go door knock that neighbor. That's a lead. It may be nothing, but that's a lead. So yeah, that's you're looking to get 20 conversations like that. And I even tell my coach that I've been doing what I do for so long. If I call people that I know already and just leave a message for them, I actually consider that as a contact. I know in Keller Williams that's not contact, but to me that's contact because I know the people I know. If I leave a message for them, if there's something come up that they need to do, they'll call me up or they'll even send me. I've had people send me referrals. I know I just left a message for them 3 days ago, and somebody call me up and say, "Hey, so tell me to call you." Like, great. So I just send them a thank you card or whatever. Right. So that's the goal. The goal is to have 20 conversations, and if you're a door knocker, it's to get 20 people to open the door and bang the door here. You're looking for a lot of no's to find a yes. If we really have that mindset that, okay, I'm gonna go through a lot of no's and then that yes hidden somewhere. And it's uncovering where the yes is coming from. All right. Any other questions?
Yes, hi Gary, I have a question. So follow-up, you do follow-up calls. Do you include the calls in your 20 calls you make every day, or that's aside from that?
My follow-up calls, the way I do is I always log in all the calls I make. I write the name down, If nothing happened, I won't write anything down. If I had a little conversation with them, but it's not a lead per se, oh no, coming back in 3 months. No, I'm not thinking about it right now, but um, maybe, I was talking to a cousin of mine, maybe they were looking to do something. I'll make notes down for them. So what I just do in my follow-up calls is still my today, Wednesday, is my follow-up day, right? So I just grab a random log of calls I've made in the past, and I just go through where I have notes down, right? And I make calls like, hey, I spoke with you, it looked like a year ago, and you were talking about, you were looking to, maybe you'll be ready to buy now, or you'll be ready to make a move now. Where are you at this point? That's my follow-up calls. And I just look for 20 calls like that too, to make. I set most of my appointments on my follow-up calls, on my follow-up call day. It's just the way it is, because people that you've talked to before, yeah, that's lead generation to me.
Well, how do you, when you do a follow-up call, or when you first talk to the person, would you say like, oh, I'll call you back tomorrow, maybe we could set up an appointment?
Oh, that's a task. If it's something that leads to an appointment, right? That would be a task. That's not my follow-up day call. My follow-up day calls is just people have written notes down on, and it's calling them and seeing what's their temperature. They're doing a real estate business. Any other questions? Oh, Jesus Lord. No, hold on. I'm sorry. Listen to that funny calls. I need to get you guys to this 411. Okay. So the 411. This is where we have a tool here that's making sure our big rocks and our little rocks are turned in. If you guys can follow this, oh my gosh, I mean, the miracles that happen from this. Because my time is running out, I'm going to share something I did even in my personal life. It wasn't my business, and I had to then, that was the click for me with my business. I told you guys briefly about the story about my daughter that had an injury, blah blah, and, brain injury and stuff like that, right? By the way, what I'm going to share with you, it got me on stage at Keller Williams. I mean, I can't say I'm super proud of it because it's not a great thing, but it's still a good thing. When she came out of an accident, she was supposed to die, like really, she has a 2-year lifespan. She's still living. That was 13 years ago, or yeah, 13 years ago. She's still living now. This 411, what I did is, my first goal is I want to get this girl to walking, because they say, there's a saying that when the doctors open up your brain, only God can put it together. So I wasn't convinced I can do anything about the brain disconnect, right? But a physical ability, had a stroke from the event, that all right side is kind of dead. So I put in activity to getting her to walk, at least taking steps. And I put in, I believe it was in 2011, 12. I put in, my year goal is get Lizzie to walk. And then I put in the monthly goals. She's been on physical therapy forever, right? So weekly goals, she has physical therapy. And then a monthly goal, I wanted to see, we went from this girl not even able to talk. Her mouth was like closed in, she can't open her mouth. So we went in like, okay, I wrote down, get Lizzie to talk, get Lizzie to eat, get Lizzie to uh, and I put it on this 411. I use our, because the 411, if you guys look at it, it says business and personal. And I did that. And really at the end of the year, because I had it down, and a leg was distorted at that time. So I had to make a decision to go look for a doctor that can do surgery on a leg. And I remember when I took her to one doctor, she's like, sorry, Mr. Nix, I think this is a waste of time. This leg is never gonna be straight, and you just need to let it be. And I said, well, what would it take for you to have surgery on it to correct it? Well, she said she has to have a bearing, a weight bearing on it first, in order for her to be even considered for surgery. And I don't see her, because the leg was completely, not, doesn't have any energy to it. So we put in on a weekly thing. And by the end of that year, now that first doctor, I didn't go back to her because she was not very encouraging. But I went to another doctor. I had the surgery done for that girl. And the next year, I got it to the point where she was able to stand and actually take some steps. She walked on stage at family reunion. Yeah, I think at family reunion. So my point is, that's like an impossible thing to do, that we create activities on, set the yearly goal, set a monthly goal, and then in that monthly goal, we do activities every week to get there. That so connect for me that, okay, so now bring that to your business. You set your yearly goal, and we most of you have already set that goal, right? So now there's something in between that we didn't have in here that I'm going to share with you guys. My time is on and out. I know. Damn. Every time I teach Ignite, I always run out of time. If you guys can write on your paper, write number 1 and go spaces behind that, write number 3 and spaces behind that, write number 5. This is going to help you in doing this 411. So the number 1 goal is still the same number 1 goal you guys have. That is the number of units you want to do, or the dollar amount you want to do, right? The number 3 is 3 activities you're going to do to accomplish that. It could be lead generation, it could be farming, it could be social connection, it could be events, it could be, there's like tons of things you can do. But go with what's naturally good for you. But lead generation gotta be one of them, okay? Lead generation gotta be one of them. So now, of those 3 things that you're going to do, put underneath each one of those 3 things, 5 things you're gonna do underneath each one. So your lead generation could be phone calling, it could be door knocking, it could be calling Facebooks, calling expires, it could be calling neighbors, calling around a listing. Just find 5 activities of different lead generation. This is where you have energy to do your work, and you keep doing the work and you're getting the result, right? So on the second activity, second form of activity, find 5 other things you can do around that activity, and then on the third one you do the same thing. So I'm sharing that with you to bring you to your 411. Your 411 is your calendar of getting these things done. So now that you have you should have like 15 activities that you're gonna do, right? Because you have 5 and 5 and 5. Let me stop sharing because I'm running out of time now. Yeah. Okay. What the hell? I click stop share. Okay. Yeah. So you have 5 activities on each one of those 3 things. I really want you guys, don't take my class like it's just a regular class and you just breathing through it. No, I really want you to get in this thing into your spirit and into your heart and really work it, because I really believe when you do this, you're going to accomplish those big why. And you all know that if you at least get 80%, 60%, even if it's 50%, it may be better than what you have this year. So when you put those activities in your calendar, so every month, okay, I'm gonna do this activity this month, and then every week of that month, you itemize all of those things that you're going to do. And so now you have a calendar before you of activities you're going to be doing every week, right? So at the end, all of this is going to be bringing you closer to bringing more opportunities your way to getting the result you want. This 411 is really, really big. I mean, you can use it for personal, um, you can use it for business, you can use it for savings, uh, you know, just like if you want to save, you know, 10,000, 100,000, whatever that may be, you chunk it down, and then you keep checking back at it. I want to focus on business with you guys. So hopefully you guys get something out of that. I think that's the key. Don't lose focus. Remind yourself why you're doing what you're doing. When you're in the middle of it, remind yourself, hey, I want to go on a cruise with my yash. I want to take sisters out, to have a good time. Remind yourself that. Just remind yourself that. And if you can even get to the reason why I told you when you were dreaming to look beyond yourself, because sometimes we want to do small for ourselves, right? If it's for me, I won't be moved to doing anything I do because I don't need much. I mean, I'm really very simple. I don't need much. To me, a car is just a car that's going to get me from point A to point B. I don't need much. Some of you say, "Oh, Gary, I see you drive Mercedes." That was my wife's car. It's when I stopped making payments on her, I got a new car and I took over the one she had. So if you can dream, if you can connect bigger goals, one of my dream, and I really believe 2021, I'm going to make that happen, is I want to buy a building where I can, because my daughter is, handicapped, self-challenged, whatever you call it, but she's kind of like in the middle, not totally completely out, not completely in, of course. So, and I found out in a level, they don't really have programs for, she's not a child now, she's an adult, she's 25. So they don't really have programs for people like that in the middle. And I wanted to start a school, in the middle that cater to someone like that. And when you start having these bigger things to do, it just inspires you more. It gives you more vitality to what you want to do. All right. Any ha-has that anybody would like to share?
Very inspiring and very enlightening about a lot of stuff, Gary. It's particularly the methods to achieve your goals, the cold calling, the FISBOs. And one thing I always remember is that from other things that I've done is that it's like you say, you have to hang around the people that are who you want to be. You don't get to be a captain of industry hanging around taxi cab drivers. Nothing wrong driving a taxi cab, but you're not going to be a captain of the industry. You have to be the people. Your friends have to be the people that you want to be, and it's so true. That has to be your sphere of influence. It's so very, very true.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Thank you for sharing. Anybody else? Any aha from the whole class?
I will go. For me today was think, act, and achieve. As we said, as a man thinketh, so shall he be. So just changing that mindset, and also looking at my goal, which I think is the big picture, and tying the activities that I need to do to get to that goal. That's the big picture, just tying those two together.
Yes.
I think that was a big aha for me.
Awesome. Thank you. Anybody else?
You make it look easy. You show me that it can absolutely be done.
All right. Awesome. Okay. Well, let me just leave with this one thing. Accountable people achieve results others can only dream of. You need to be accountable. Whatever, you're just not going to push yourself by yourself. You're not going to push yourself by yourself. Be accountable to somebody. And I really find out when you pay money, I've been paying $1,000 for coaching for probably 10, 12 years. And people are like, oh, that's a lot of money you pay. It
$1,000
keeps
a
me
month.
accountable. Yeah, it keeps me accountable. If you know, you pay. Sometimes when you're getting even great advice from a friend, you don't do it. But somebody you pay money to, you pay for that money, right? You're gonna go out and do it. That's just the way I work. I find that when my kids, my son used to do track and field, and no matter how I try to coach him, because I did track and field when I was young too, he ain't listening to me. But when I paid for coaching, oh my God, it went way up uh, uh, in accomplishing what is possible. So be accountable. We've got a great productivity coach in Sonia. I mean, that lady, if I don't have a coach, I'll pay her for coaching. Just it's a talent. It's a talent. Because there are sometimes when I'm having conversation with her, I'm like, damn, that's what my coach told me about. And she just, it will just come out of her. Some people are just that good in seeing what you don't see. And if you are accountable to them, you'll get the results. All right. Thank you all so much. You all have a wonderful day.
Thank you, Gerry.
Thank you, Gerry.
They'll make it happen.
Thank
All
you,
right, thank you.
Gerry.
Thank you so much, Gerry.
All right.
Have a good day. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.